Let me get the paper last. Just kidding.
No.
Okay.
Just kidding. Cross out everybody's name.
You can just pass it with it. That's fine. I got extra pens.
Oh, nice. We're focused.
Okay.
There's no apps or anything like that.
All right. So I feel like this has been in order all day, but we've kind of been rustling and bustling and stuff. I just wanted to say thank you to Josh and Vic by extension as well. It might be weird, but I don't know, can we give everyone a hand of this is really great. So thank you. Thanks for Josh to kind of orchestrating this especially. All right, sorry, I'm going to record this as well, so I'm just getting to my phone really quick. Okay. So for those of you who don't know who I am, I'm Braxton. I'm based out of Idaho, which is just a hop, skip, and a jump over here. A little bit about me. About 3 years ago, I started a coaching business, and it was the first time I really jumped into social media marketing. Up until that point, I hated social media marketing, not because I didn't enjoy it, but because I wasn't seeing any results from it. I was getting really discouraged from everything that was flopping, it wasn't working. And then I reconnected with a friend that I had known almost 20 years ago. She has, across all of her socials, 8 million followers. And this was, if you knew her, I knew her when she was a teenager, you wouldn't have, she was just a regular person. And that's kind of what inspired me to start pursuing social media marketing more intentionally. So 3 years ago, give or take, I started really hammering on social media marketing, particularly short form video. And since then, I've done about 250 million views. And so I'm here to show you just what I've learned. We kind of heard James a little bit this morning talk about stuff that Vayner's done, what Gary's done, what their method and their philosophy is. Here, we're going to get really in the weeds and really hone in on okay, we hear the 30,000 foot view strategy. What's the really in the weeds things that I need to be doing? Because the biggest thing I run into with my clients is I could give them the whole strategy and they still are asking the question, well, where do I start? So assuming you know a little bit about social media marketing, now we're talking about, okay, where do I start, okay? Let's see. Really quick, by raise of hands, I just want to get a temperature check. I think I kind of know the answer to this, but I want to know who has an online business and who has a brick and mortar or just a local business. So for local businesses, raise your hand for me really quick. Okay. And then everyone else is online. Raise your hands, just show me. Okay. You consider you online?
Well, I'm hybrid.
You're limited to Fort Worth though, in that because of your tours.
I don't have a physical Okay.
Yeah. But so maybe your regional business was a better way to put it.
Oh. Okay,
Would you say you're a regional business?
Yes.
Okay, cool. All right. Really quick, the first thing I want to do, we're going to tear a bunch of these off as we go through stuff. And let me know if you guys can or can't see this. What I love is isolating, whenever I coach something, I like isolating what the negatives or the things to avoid are, because I think as human beings, that's how we're wired. So when we call out the things that are negative or that we need to avoid, it's easier to understand what the opposite is that we should be doing. So when it comes to social media marketing, I would love anyone that would like to share, what are some common tips or advice that you hear about social media marketing that you think may or may not work?
Use hashtags.
Hashtags. I was waiting for that one. Okay.
Quantity over quality.
Okay.
Or quantity over, I've heard them both.
Okay, what else? And hopefully you can read my chicken scratch. Any other thoughts?
Post daily.
Okay, so I'm gonna put, post daily. I might also add, what's something that we hear a lot is be consistent, right? Okay. Any other thoughts?
Go live.
Do lives, okay. And I'm just realizing that you all may not see this. Okay.
And go on podcasts or go on other things.
Okay. So I'm going to call that distribution.
Yep.
Other people's stages.
Yes, right.
Okay. Any others? Okay.
Interaction.
Interaction. So comment and stuff. Engage. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Okay.
And asking questions that get people to interact.
Okay. So I'll put that under engagement. Okay.
Oh, also spelling errors is a trap.
Okay, so now we're getting the weeds. We'll get to that. Actually, that's great. Yep. So, okay. So, kind of looking at these, does anyone in this room know what the actual strategy with any of this is? Can anyone define a strategy with it at all, besides what you see here?
Volume.
Exhausting. Sorry, what was that? Volume. Okay. Yep. So that's kind of this type of thing, right? But like if you hear someone say just be consistent, would you agree that's the whole strategy, or do they share more to it? It's usually that's all they say, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So what we're going to talk about is what's the strategy beneath why people say that. Okay. Okay. So what I want to talk about today, I'm going to rip this. I want you to keep in your mind REM. And that stands for research, experiment, maximize. Okay? What I'm going to talk about is the 3 phases of social media marketing that is more than those high-level strategies, those high-level tips that no one ever explains what they mean. Okay? REM, research, experiment, maximize, okay? And I'll write it here really quick. Sorry for the squeaky marker. Okay. And while I'm doing this, I want to encourage anyone, if I'm rambling, I don't try to ramble, but if I'm talking, if you have a question, thoughts, feel free to interrupt me, and because I want to make this kind of a collaborative thing, okay? All right. So the first thing I want to talk about is being consistent. There's a reason why you should absolutely be consistent. But everyone thinks that's the whole strategy. So something that comes to mind is Alex Hormozy gave a talk on 45 Minutes. There's a YouTube video about it where he shows the trend line of just his YouTube where it's totally flat, and then he started posting more and it just skyrockets, right? And he got to his 2 million followers, whatever, right? So, but his whole point is, all right, that's ugly now, but that's fine. His whole point was just keep posting more and eventually it'll take off, right? There is something to that. That's true, but that's only half of the strategy, okay? The other half is how do you exploit the platform so that when you're posting consistently, you're getting maximum results off of it, okay? And what most people don't realize is that part, that other half of the strategy that no one's talking about, it's just all this other stuff, that other half has everything to do with how you're structuring your content. There's actually a method and a formula to structuring your content, and the better you do it, the easier it is to get massive exposure on social. It is possible because of the way algorithms are these days, almost regardless of the platform, it's possible that you can post your first video on your TikTok or Instagram Reels or whatever, and it will go viral. Because posting more and being consistent isn't the game anymore. That's what YouTube trained us in like 2010 because YouTube was the only video platform out there. But since then, it's changed. So it's all about the algorithm. The first thing I can talk about, the first thing I would say when you're thinking about the algorithm, thinking about being consistent is the underlying reason why it's important to be consistent is because, actually, let me ask you this way. Who's familiar with running Facebook ads? Okay, most people in the room, okay? What do you always hear? Like if I were to run out and start running Facebook ads for the first time, I've never done it before, what do we always say about the pixel when you first start Facebook ads? Like what has to happen with the pixel for it to start being effective for you?
Train it.
Train it? You have to season the pixel, right? Exactly. Most people don't realize socials work this way entirely. Just like paid ads, the platform has to learn who you are as a creator. Whether you view yourself as a creator or not, the platform has to view you as that. And so the way that posting consistently helps is it's just accelerating the process of you seasoning the platform so the platform knows what type of creator you are, what topic you cover, the formats you do, all that type of stuff. Does that make sense so far? Questions? No? Okay. Just look at my notes here. So one of the biggest ways that it's possible for the platform to get seasoned to you is to allow yourself to become pigeonholed. Normally that's like pigeonholing yourself is a bad connotation, but in social media marketing, it's actually very effective. If you can stay narrow in your social media marketing on it, whether based on your topic or how you deliver the content, the format that you deliver it in, that tells the platform in conjunction with you being consistent, that tells the platform that you're a reliable source for that kind of content. And the better that you can show the platform that consistently, the more it makes you reliable to send the right audience to you to do that. Does that make sense? Okay. So the question is, how do you figure out how to be pigeonholed? And I think we have enough. I made workbooks. So, okay.
Yeah.
I got one right here if you want.
Okay, got it. I bought one, but it's in there.
Okay, so phase 1 is research. So if you open up your workbooks, Josh, there's going to be extra ones. You're welcome to grab one.
Get in here, Josh.
Was this what I asked for? Like, didn't I texted you?
Did you have one?
Is there an extra one?
It was in the works when you asked me, but yeah, yep, totally. Okay, you can just hang on to them if you want to follow with honey. Okay, all right, so the first thing, there's a couple things we're going to do here. If you have your device, get ChatGPT ready. Okay, if you have a device. That's what you're going to see when you first open up the page. But what I want to talk about first is what I call the pie method. And you're going to see that. That's like when you turn the first page, that's what you'll see we're talking about is the pie method.
Can you use Grok?
Yeah, if you have another
Okay.
platform or another AI of choice, it should be fine. I'm familiar with ChatGPT. And there's a QR code there. If you have a device, if you have a computer, there's a QR code in that workbook where it's going to give you a digital version of this sheet that you're looking at, okay? All right, so what's the pie method? So the one big way that no one talks about social media marketing, when you talk about being pigeonholed, allowing yourself to be pigeonholed, and being able to get the algorithm to know you, it works a lot like SEO with like Google. Is anyone in here not familiar with how SEO works on like Google search? Okay, everyone's familiar. Okay. Social platforms have an SEO system just like Google does. It just works a little bit differently, okay? So think of it this way. Just like with Google search, some topics are going to have more search volume than others, right? With social media, almost in the same way, some topics on social media are like a bigger pie than others. So when I was doing career coaching, when I first figured this out and got my account to go to like 400,000 followers in a matter of months, what I realized was there are certain topics on TikTok, as an example, certain topics had a bigger piece of the pie or a bigger pie in terms of viewership than others did. So if I did career coach, executive career coach had a much smaller pie in terms of the viewership. Everybody with me so far? Okay. So if you want to accelerate how the platform learns who you are, how you pigeonhole yourself in a good way, and get the right attention from the right people, the quicker you figure out which of your industry's topics, your niche's topics, have a bigger pie than others, the easier it is for you to insert yourself into that conversation and get attention from it, okay? So what we're looking at here in the workbook is my method for figuring out what those topics are for you. So we're going to do this in real time for a few minutes. You'll see on that second page there, if you want to write it down, there's 15 spots. I would encourage you maybe just for the sake of time right now, do like 3. So what you're going to do is I want you to write down in that grid 3 topics in that first column, 3 different keywords that represent topics that you would like to be known for on social media, okay? And try and make them a little bit different. Questions? Everyone get it? Okay.
When you said try to make,
I would go a little bit more niche than that, but yeah. Mm-hmm.
when you said try to make them a little bit different, you mean from each other?
From each other, yep, sorry. Yep, make them unique from each other. And then while you're thinking about that, I want to preface that what we're going to talk about in a minute is there's one metric that matters for getting your videos to go viral, and it's me and Josh have talked about this on the podcast, right? But it's actually quite simple. Execution's challenging, but the answer is actually quite simple. So I'm just going to give you like a couple more seconds to fill out your keywords. Anthony?
So I have keywords here like personal training, business owner. Is that what you're asking?
I'd say so. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep. Okay. And we're going to do something in real time. You're all going to pull out your phones and you're going to do something with me in real time. So that's why I'm having you write this down. And then you can go home and do the other 10 or 15 or whatever you want. Okay. But step one of this pie method is identifying the keywords that you think you would like to be known for. Okay. Everyone there for the most part? Okay. Then open up your platform of choice, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube Shorts. Okay. Let me try and explain what we're going to do here. You're going to search that term. So your number one term that you wrote down there, you're going to search that. And then I want you to look at the 4 videos that pop up in the results. And what you're going to take note of, and what we made space for you there, is you're going to log the engagement or the activity on that video. And you can do it straight from the results screen. You don't got to even click into the video, okay? And what you're looking for is the number. So if you're looking at Instagram, you're going to see likes. If you're looking at TikTok, it's going to show, or excuse me, Instagram's going to show views, TikTok's is going to show likes, for example. But you just look at it from the search screen. Okay, make sure you're looking at Reels, by the way, if you're on Instagram. Everyone with me so far?
Oh, so I just opened TikTok.
Okay, that's fine. Have I lost anyone yet?
Oh, we're not using the chat GPT. We're looking, okay.
Yeah, I just meant get
okay,
ChatGPT
got
ready
it, yeah.
if you don't have it already.
Okay, got
Yep.
it. Yeah,
So
okay.
go into your platform of choice. You're going to look at your first of your 3 keywords and just search that keyword in whatever your platform of choice is. Okay? Is there anyone?
And then the very first one that comes up.
You're looking at the first 4. So what I want you to log in this sheet is what is the number you're seeing in the results there in each video, in the first 4. Skip, if there's any sponsored or paid videos, skip that one and go to the next one. So if there's one that shows up in like video number 3, skip that one and then do the next 2.
Did you write down?
I know we're getting way in the weeds.
We're writing down the
You're writing down the number you see for each video in your grid there, okay? And then you're gonna, yep, sorry, I'll let you. Am I making sense so far, guys? Okay, I wanna make sure I'm not losing anybody.
And Gary just missed it. He's number 5. Too bad. Sorry, fella.
Okay, so I told you to do that for number 1. It's gonna take a minute, and I don't wanna spend too much time, but do it for the other 2 keywords that you did as well. You're just writing down the number you see. Again, if it's Instagram, I believe it shows views, and if it's TikTok, it's gonna show likes. And then I forget what YouTube Shorts says off the top of my head, but.
What other? Do you want to do another one?
And for those that are, sorry, I'll give you a couple more seconds. And then if it wasn't obvious, that last column there is the average. So I want you to whip out your calculator when you've done all 3. Whip out the calculator on your phone and do the average for each row.
Yeah, so when you look at Reels on Instagram, we're just writing down the first 4 or 5.
Write down the number you see in the first 4 videos in the results.
Right.
Not
Okay.
the number. You don't put the video, you put the number.
Put the number you see, yep.
Got it, okay.
I'm usually shitty with directions.
I'll walk around really quick just to see if.
Is this the highest number you see? Is that what you're saying?
Nope, so I'll show you. If I had a projector, it would be
Yeah,
easier, but.
yeah.
Yep, so you're on Reels. So this is, so you would just, so I said do the first 4, so write down that number, that number, that number, and that number.
Okay, got it.
Makes sense?
Yeah, now it makes sense. Okay, thank you.
And if anyone gets to all 3, maybe do me a favor, raise your hand so I know kind of where we're at. I know it's kind of tedious, but there is going to be a point to this. You're done, Anthony?
Well, yeah, what I don't have is the 2 last averages, because you're making me do math. But
You have a calculator in front of you.
I'm not here for math.
I'm here to teach you. You've been teaching me for weeks. It's your turn now, Buster.
Okay, each number goes in. Okay, so I did this wrong again. Okay, I hate pens. I always use pencils for this very reason.
Oh, by the way, there's a blank section in the back of your workbook just for notes. For anything else, I made space for you if it comes to that. And just while you guys are doing this, I'll just comment on, I'm showing you this because this is what I did, and I want to show you what, I just want to explain like what this did for me. Me growing my brand online, using this method to grow my account and get the millions of views that I did, what it did for me was get me partnerships with companies like Upwork. I brought on clients, coaching clients that were like executives from Citibank, Reddit, Coinbase, NBC News, Variety Magazine. These were all executives that were my clients, all because of the brand equity that I built doing this on social media. So I know it feels tedious right now. I'm showing it to you because that's how much it matters, just for what it's worth. Thank you. We have an extra workbook. Would you like one? Yeah. Okay. Okay. And this is the most schoolwork I'll make you do. Where's your calculator? Cool. Okay. How many are we still working on? I see most people. Okay.
To run the same experiment on Instagram or something like that.
On, yep, whatever your platform of choice is, do it. Yep, absolutely. You can do it again and again and again. And this is something that I even do like maybe twice a year. It's not something, because topics and trends change, right? Okay. So I see people kind of wrapping up, so I'm going to move on just for the sake of time. Okay, so what I wanted to highlight for you in your industry, what you're looking at in that last column, the top average views or likes that you're seeing in that column gives you a pretty good hint at what the bigger pie is on that platform for your industry, right? That's what we're driving at here. So can I use yours as an example here?
Yes.
Okay, so Lee's, I see, sorry, I don't see the averages yet, but this is okay.
Yeah, I have to do the math.
Yeah, you're
I
fine.
was catching up.
So for Lee runs a tour company in Texas. Her keywords are food tour, history tour, and stockyards tour. And I'm seeing what looks like, just at face value, it looks like history tour is the most popular one based on those likes that I'm seeing, or the views, right?
Yeah.
So Lee now knows that focusing on history tour in Texas for her is probably a little bit more of an accessible keyword that has a bigger pie that she can then take the piece of. Right? Can anyone, like, is it making sense how this correlates with how Google works, how SEO works? Okay. Yeah, please.
I have a question. So my top 3 were wellness, balance, lifestyle, and yoga. So I would say it like went from most broad to getting nicher, and that's like what it looks like in the like pies. Like it's definitely like most views and then gets less. So is that telling us that like you want to just stay really broad and not niche?
I would. So that's a good question. That's why I made room for 15 here in the workbook. Is I think you want to try and go.
For the exercise.
Yeah, you want to do the exercise, but I think it's okay to go niche. Do all the niche topics because like it's just like Google, right? So like there might be high search volume but low competition with Google, right?
Yeah.
So if you pick a niche topic that has a lot of popularity relative to other topics, then that would still be a good choice for you as long as you feel like it's relevant to your industry.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
So really like just do kind of like niche for the rest
Yep.
of them. Okay.
Yep, I would say so.
Do you have any recommendations for finding out what people might be searching for?
Because
it could be niche, but nobody's searching for it. Doesn't matter how good your content.
So that's the one place that it differs. I'm showing you how to search for the data,
Right.
but other people, we're not talking about other people searching it. We're just talking about what topics are popular, right? So like when you like, because I've heard Gary Vee say this, you're the algorithm, right? And what that means is how often have you fat fingered maybe, I don't know what a weird, like, I don't know. I'm trying to think of something like a bakery. I don't know. How long have you fat fingered something, content, like a video that where you liked it or something, but you normally don't like that kind of content? You hit like or you do something happens, and you start seeing that in your feed like a day later, that type of stuff, right? That's what we're talking about. That's how the algorithm behaves. So you're not technically trying to find the pie because that's what people are searching, but because of their engagement on relevant content, the algorithm's feeding that type of content to them. And so all you have to do is figure out the pie. Am I making sense?
I think I might be missing something.
You're not trying, in other words, you're not trying to figure out what people are searching for. You're trying to figure out what content is most popular in your industry. And the way that happens is how people engage with it, because that's what's creating the extreme views or the extreme likes.
Got it.
Does that make sense? Okay.
You just
Cool.
explained something to me. because I had something that ran away. It was so out of the ordinary, but there was something about that piece that made it explode.
Yep.
Just that one freaking piece.
Yeah.
And I'm still getting people.
Exactly.
From it, you know?
Yep, absolutely.
Braxton, quick question.
Yes.
With regards to this exercise specifically. So let's say I fill out the 15, and I find in this case that business owner is the one that has the least based on everything that I'm looking for. Are you saying that this, as of right now, this exercise is just to see which one has the least to go niche, or are you saying that this exercise is to identify what I should be aiming for?
What you're aiming for. You're finding whatever topic, whatever niche keyword has the biggest average of likes or views, so that you can then start using those keywords, those topics to insert yourself into, because that pie is bigger and you want a bigger piece of it.
Got it. So then these keywords and phrases, as I go on, I should make them more and more specific to what I'm offering.
I would say so. Yep, absolutely. And what's really cool, Instagram doesn't do this as well, but on TikTok, when you start typing in a search topic, you're going to see a litany of recommendations or suggestions. That's a good way to figure out what your other niche keywords, if you're having trouble filling out this list, that's a good way to figure out what other keywords you can try as well. Does that make sense? Because you're going to see some, like, you're going to think that a keyword is, oh my gosh, this is the perfect, I would love to be known for this. And then you search for it on the platform, and your 4 videos that are showing up in the search results are all like 200 views or something like that. And you're like, okay, that's not where you don't want that pie. That pie is not good for you, right? Okay.
Makes sense.
Okay, cool. All right. So let's go ahead and, I'm just looking at my notes here. Okay, sorry, and I wanted to talk about, so that's phase 1. That's the extent of the research, but I did want to tell you one other thing. There are some criteria that you can kind of keep in the back of your head for helping you figure out which topics you want to use versus ones you don't, okay? And I'm going to give you an example. So I am spoiled and privileged to have created a category on TikTok. When I was doing my career coaching stuff, I created this is the series that got me my 250 million views almost entirely. And it was a topic that was not active, that was not super popular. Like it was my own, I created this keyword and it got a bazillion views or whatever, and it was awesome. But I had to do, it took longer to build the momentum using that keyword, okay? So what I'm talking about now is it's easier to inject yourself into an existing popular term than it is to create one. So what's the criteria for helping you figure out what those best keywords are? One is ask yourself, is this something that your audience will find especially, like it will resonate with them especially, and only your audience, okay? So that's the first question. Will this absolutely resonate with the audience I'm trying to attract, okay? The second question you want to ask yourself is my offer a natural next step from this type of content? And that's the one that I got tripped up on at first when I did this, when I first blew up on social media, is I got known purely for the entertainment of what I was doing. And I would get like 6 million views to a video in a day, and not one lead would come from it. And it's because I was leaning too hard in being a creator versus a business owner. And so like that's another thing I want to stress here is what I'm trying to show you is a way to do it as a business owner that doesn't dilute your brand and helps you build your business as well. So that's the second question. Is your offer, whatever you do in your business, a good natural next step to whatever you're doing in this content?
Can you repeat the first question? Because I was
Sure.
trying to find
So the first question is that you want to ask yourself, will your audience absolutely find that this resonates with them? Mm-hmm. In other words, you're looking for relatability. You want this content to be relatable to your audience and almost to no one else, right? We want it to feel exclusive or like a tribe in that way, right? Questions? Yeah, please.
But if I'm understanding you correctly, these are social media platforms and mostly used for entertainment purposes. So in terms of tying that to your business, because, and this is just me as an avid user of social media, the content is being pushed to me because of the things that I kind of click on and I like. But not necessarily am I going into it saying I'm particularly looking for, let's say, data analytics.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
I wouldn't go to social media for that. I would go to a different platform.
Right. Yep.
for that kind of content.
Yep. And so that's the trick. You kind of touched on two things that I was going to touch on later, but I love this. I was glad to. So the first thing I would say, one of my biggest business heroes is Dan Kennedy. And if you don't know who he is, he's like the man. He's been in this scene forever. And like, it's a long story, but before I started my business, every business that I worked for, every small business I worked for prior to starting my own, was trained by Dan Kennedy, and they're doing, multi-millions, like 9 figures, and it was pretty incredible to sit at the feet of my bosses who had learned from Dan Kennedy to see everything they did. But one of the things Dan Kennedy says is that if they're looking at a screen, it's television. And what he means is, as long as this is happening with any user, they want to be entertained, whether they realize it or not. Does that make sense? So part of the challenge is always being entertaining, but doing it in a way that isn't like, I joked with this about this with Josh a couple months ago, but some women are going on TikTok shaking their bums and getting millions of views, right? But you can't do that because that might ruin your brand, hurt your reputation. So you can't do that. You have to go about it a different way, right? So there is an element of being entertaining, but I think some of us, we kind of almost resolve ourselves to the idea that to be entertaining means you have to be funny. And there's a lot of other ways to be entertaining, right? You can be educational and be entertaining. You can be cringy even and be entertaining. That's why Karen videos are so popular, right? So things like that. But you have to be entertaining. And then the other thing is you got to be really clear on what short form, we're talking kind of short form video in particular here. A lot of long form video on YouTube applies to all this. This all applies to it too. But talking short form, you want to make sure that you're treating each platform the way it's intended. So for short form, it's all about exposure and entertainment, right? So Reels, YouTube Shorts, and TikTok are all about exposure and entertainment, so that you can then lead them into your long form content, which might be a YouTube video, it might be a webinar or something like that. So all of our clients, and what I've done once I kind of course corrected in my coaching business was I basically figured out how to take your short form video and direct people to a long form piece of content, because that's where they get educated and that's where you build trust with people. Does that make sense? So your call to action in your short form video should rarely ever be, hey, buy my thing, or go to my webinar, or opt in for this thing. That's to get you on the viewer's radar. That's all you do on short form. And then if you say something like, oh, click the link in my bio, that might take them to a YouTube video or a webinar where they then get exposed to you. Oh, you're just not some entertaining TikTok creator or whatever. You're actually a real business, and you actually are doing something pretty cool. Now they're in your funnel. Does that make sense? Okay, questions so far?
You said that your call to action on short form should just be to follow or to follow your profile?
It depends on what you're doing. There's always some variance, right? And TikTok Shop is blowing up. So there's some exceptions, but I don't think anyone here has an e-commerce business, right? And so, yeah, your call to action in your short form should be something that takes them somewhere else to then get educated by you, from you, on your offer, on what you do, on why you're special, why you're unique, how you differentiate yourself, whatever it is, right? And so Anthony, go ahead. Oh, I was gonna say, so let's just say that I'm back in my career coaching business and I have a 5-day challenge, and that's how I get people to opt in and get on my radar, right? So on my TikTok or my Instagram Reels, I might do my 90-second short form video, and then I'll say, click the link to go learn about how I help you do this in 5 days, or something like that. Then they'll go on YouTube and they'll see a 15-minute video that talks about what you should do in your first 5 days of job hunting, for example. And that's where the call to action is to opt in for the ebook, the challenge, or whatever else. Does that make sense? Okay.
So that's the hook. After the first 5 videos.
We'll get to that. Yep, that's a little bit different.
Were there any other questions?
I think, Anthony, did you have a question?
Yeah, real quick.
Yeah.
You touched upon, is my offer a natural next step to whatever you're doing? Are we going to discuss potential offers in this, what you're showing us today?
I plan on doing that if we had time. I'm not sure if we'll have time, but yeah.
Was there any other questions after you said questions per topic?
Yeah, I think I said 2.
I thought you said 3, but...
Okay, yeah. I kind of touched on it, but the third question to ask yourself is, are you absolutely certain that whatever you're doing with this keyword is something you want to be known for? Because you can get pigeonholed the wrong way, and that's what happened with me. I mentioned before, I posted a video that got me 6 million views, not one lead came from it. If people perceive you to be too much of a creator, then they aren't going to, you're not building any like recognition, you're not building any value the right way as a business owner to bring clients, bring leads in. And so people will just, haha, that was funny. They might bookmark it, they might save it, they might share it, but then they'll swipe away, right? So you want to do it in a way, and that's the pitfall that I fell into for a long time, was getting, and my wife will tell you, like I got really excited one night the first time I had a video blow up, and I like, my phone was chiming like crazy, right? But no leads came from it. And so you have to be careful that you don't want to sacrifice the call to action. You don't want to sacrifice the value you're offering just for the sake of getting views. It's possible to get a bazillion views and not one lead comes from it. And so you want to be really clear on how you're executing on that content to make sure that it's building your brand and not just making it something that people swipe away from too soon. Make sense? Okay, cool. So, so that's the research portion that we talked about. We got a half an hour left. Right, Josh?
That's right.
Okay. Okay, so if you go to the next page, you might be on it, you might not, but where it says best practices for crafting viral videos. Okay. I mentioned a moment ago that it's how you structure your content that actually empowers you to attract a lot of viewers, okay? Who's familiar with this concept of like what a hook is? Is there anyone that doesn't know what that is at all? Okay. It's actually all in this structure. So the way I describe it is hook, body, which is like the meat of the content, and then the payoff. Is there anyone that hasn't heard of this kind of structure before? Is this new to anybody?
That's how you write a song.
Exactly. That's a good point.
Exactly how you write a song.
Yep. I'm just curious, who knows who David Ogilvy was by chance? Is anyone here? Josh does. Okay, a few people. For those of you who don't know, he was like the OG godfather of advertising. Okay, and one of the things, one of the things he said is when, and I'm going to butcher it a little bit probably, but one of the things he said is when you write your headline, you've spent 80% of your marketing dollar, right? That's what the hook is. So the better the first 4 seconds of your video is, and we'll talk about what better means in a minute, but the better those first 4 seconds are, the more likely it is that your video will go viral. Just like with your 80% of the dollar headline, okay? And the reason is because you're setting an expectation. You're setting up what people can expect for the rest of the video, even if it goes like 20 minutes long. And it actually, there's a good example of that. I'm sure everyone knows who Mr. Beast is, okay? I even posted, for those of us that are in our Blocks network, I posted in that group one time, I think, asking who knows who Mr. Beast is and do you follow his content at all? And everyone said no. And I thought, you're crazy, because watching his videos is the best masterclass you could ever do. And one of the things that you'll notice he does is when he opens up one of his crazy YouTube videos with one of his stunts or whatever, is he opens it up with a hook that's like, holy crap, like, I'm gonna make these people swim a mile across this island, or across the ocean from this island to this island. And the first person that gets there wins $1 million or something like that, right? But what you notice in the video is for the first 6 minutes, he's repeating that hook multiple times. Because he knows that in the first 6 minutes, now we're talking long form for a minute, but the first 6 minutes, that's how many times it takes to get you hooked. Is you have to be reminded what the purpose of the video is that many times. And so when you go to a Mr. Beast video, when you go to your hotel tonight or whatever, and watch a Mr. Beast video and watch how many times he repeats the hook in 6 seconds. And he switches it up a little bit. So like the next time you hear the hook, it'll be like, I'm making people swim from this island across the ocean to that island. The first person that wins is going to $1 million. But what they don't know is I'm dropping a bomb on them halfway through and they have to survive it, or something like that, right? Now he just added another layer of tension where, okay, not only there's the $100 at stake, but now their lives are at stake, or whatever it is. I'm exaggerating, but you get the idea? That's what your hook has to be. So we're talking short form video when you're maybe posting a video that's 90 seconds long. That is how critical the hook is, because that's 80% of your marketing dollar, right? A good trick that I always tell myself is make that sound like a tabloid headline as much as you possibly can. Thoughts, questions? Okay. And so I won't go into a bunch of detail, but you have a bunch of stuff there on that page in the workbook about hooks that gives you a lot of like direction on how to create the hook, okay? All right, the next step is the body. So the body is like just the majority of your content. That's what I call it, is the body. Here's how I'd explain the body. Just like Mr. Beast, you have to hook people in multiple times, okay? So what I did here, imagine that this is like the length of your video for the most part. Here's where the hook might be. Let's see if I can write sideways. Okay, the body, and then we'll get to the payoff in a minute. Okay, so this part, the whole idea is you gotta keep people interested and keep them from swiping away. And the way you do that is by earning additional seconds of time. So these little, what I'm doing here, you're earning 3 seconds of continued attention at a time. It's not just like, oh, I've grabbed them with the hook and I'm crossing my fingers hoping that they stick around. I'm inserting another hook or another mini hook, or I'm inserting kind of like a twist, a 180. I'm saying this new thing or whatever it is. And you're continually doing that every so often, not maybe this much in a 90-second video, but you get the idea. Like, you're earning.
We call those complications.
There you go. Yeah. Yep. Yep. And I think in marketing, like I like to use the term anchor. We're using an anchor, right? And so this is your first anchor, but to make it an anchor, you got to remind people of the anchor throughout the video, okay? The reason why this is important, I'm going to tell you the one secret now that I kind of prefaced with. We talked about, if I go back here, right? There's a strategy behind hashtags. There's a strategy behind posting daily, posting more, posting frequently, posting consistently, okay? All this helps, but the one thing that matters with social media marketing is getting as many viewers to watch your video all the way to the end. Does anyone know why? Anthony, you could kind of know already, but yeah.
I'm assuming that the platform wants you to stay there.
Yep. Why does the platform want the viewer to stay there?
Great question. Somebody else go ahead.
It shows up more on other people's feeds because it's getting that longevity. Isn't that what?
Okay.
Yeah.
It learns who you are so they can market to you better, probably.
You're getting closer, yep. How does the platform make money?
Advertising.
Advertising, okay. And how do they make more dollars off of advertising? More viewers. And the longer a viewer is on the platform, the more ads get exposed and the more money that the platform makes. So what we don't realize as creators on the platform is we're playing in that sandbox, okay? So being able to facilitate this, the platform's actually relying on us as creators or as business creators to keep viewers on the platform as long as possible. And the platform will reward you with more views if your content is good enough and it's doing that. Make sense? So the one secret, the one thing, nothing else, none of this matters. All this is like part of it. But all you gotta remember to do is to increase your completion rate. If you look at your Instagram, your TikTok, your YouTube, the only thing that matters is the completion rate. So I'll give you an example really quick, okay? So about 4 months ago, I have the privilege and I'm spoiled and I have brands come to me about twice a month to do a sponsored video or something like that, okay? And this brand approached me and they said, we want you to do what you would normally do. Don't make it about us. Just do your normal type of video that people love and just plug us in the video. And I said, okay, I'm going to put your plug in the middle. And they said, no, don't do that. We want it at the end. And I said, I promise you want it in the middle. And they said, no, put it at the end. And I said, okay, I'm going to throw you a bone. Let's do an experiment, Mr. Brand. I'm going to do one video for you the way you want it. And if it doesn't perform to your satisfaction, then I'll do a second video and we're going to do it my way. And I already knew how this was going to play out, okay? So we posted the first video and the trend line looks something like this. Okay, so that's the analytics from the viewership on that video. It got 14,000 views in the first 24 hours. Okay. Video number 2, I posted 3 days later, doing it my way, where I put the plug in the middle of the video. Okay, and this is what the trend line looked like. Okay, and that video in the same period got 46,000 views. This one I put the plug in the middle, this one I put the plug at the end. Based on what I just told you, does anyone see why?
Wait, no, the other way. It was the other way. You said the plug,
Plug in the middle, plug at the end, plug in the middle. Sorry guys, thank you, sorry. Plug at the end, plug at the middle. Does anyone know why that happened? Based on what I just said with completion rate.
Because with the plug in the middle, it kept them engaged more, so they stayed on longer.
Because they wanted to get to the end. If you've done homework for setting up right.
Exactly.
Or somebody's looking for a payoff.
Yep. So people are willing to endure the plug in the middle because they were incentivized to finish the video, right? Which increased the watch time. When I did the full video and then the plug, people realized they got the whole video. The plug happened, they swiped away. Okay. The completion rate on this video was 6%. The completion rate on this video was 27%. You can see how it correlates.
And by the plug, can you just, like, what you want from them? What
was it, a 60-second promotion?
Yeah.
It was like an 8-second one, 8 to 10
brand?
seconds. Yep, for the brand. Yep. When I plugged it, it was like a software company. So it's like, hey, my friends at XYZ software company, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, right.
That happened here, like I said, at the end and at the middle. Yep. Is anyone not tracking? Like, feel free to let me know if this isn't making sense. Why?
It's making perfect sense. The fact of the matter is that much of this is just the condensing of regular marketing.
Absolutely.
That's what it's been
Yep.
Since the beginning of marketing.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Just of now putting it into a little tiny vial,
Mm-hmm.
as opposed to all of those ads on television, all the repetition,
Mm-hmm.
all the shit Cheerios did, all that.
Yep.
Really,
Yep.
it's exactly the same thing, but in a little microcosm.
Yep. Buyer psychology is absolutely
Yep,
playing
exactly.
from start to finish here. Go ahead.
So in terms of like duration of a short form video, is completion rate higher when it's a 6-second video, and do you want to aim towards like shorter videos?
Great question. I get this question a lot. So I would say don't overly fix too much on duration, okay? Because what happened when TikTok was like, let's go back like 3 or 4 years when TikTok was a little bit fresher, people were exploiting the 7-second hook, right? Like, are you familiar with that? So that's when the video was in its entirety was 7 seconds. And so people were just like, oh, if I just post a 7-second video, my completion rate will be really high because it's so short and I'll get a bazillion views off that, right? And it worked. But then TikTok's like, nay, like we can't have that. Like this isn't helping our business at all, so we're gonna fix that. So TikTok nixed anything having like any impact really for the first 7 seconds. And so you do have to create a video that's at least like 15, 30 seconds, right? For that reason. But yeah, but I get asked all the time, well, what about the duration? Based on what I've experienced, it just has to be like at least a 10-second video is what that boils down to. Because
like cap on duration, you would say?
if you can hold people's attention because TikTok can go up to 10 minutes, if you can hold their attention for that long, then absolutely, right?
Do you think, sorry, one more
Yeah.
question. Do you think putting in the top corner of the video, hold down for 2x speed helps people complete the video?
I don't know for sure on that. I don't know on that one.
I've been experimenting with that because when I'm like scrolling, if they tell me to do, like I know to press and hold for 2x speed, but if they tell me, I'm like, oh, okay, like I might as well just listen, and I didn't like, that's what I'm talking, and then I finished the video. So I've been doing that for mine, and like, I've only done it for 2 so far, so I don't really know, but yeah.
Great question. Yeah, I don't know if I've not experienced enough cut and dry, like one way or the other to see if that works or not. So I don't know. That's a great question though. Other questions, Emily?
Any guidelines or ways that we can like think up these little anchors throughout the video to keep them coming? I feel like that's where I would.
So if you were to turn the page, I created, we can go to that. There's a ChatGPT or a Claude or Grok or whatever prompt there. I don't think I have a QR code for that one because you presumably would use it on your computer, but there is a digital version you can copy and paste. I have a link kind of halfway down the page about there that you can copy, but that's the prompt you can give it. And somewhere in there it talks about earning seconds at a time or something like that in that prompt.
Perfect. Okay.
Makes sense?
Good. That's all I needed.
A resource that I'm looking into, now forgive me, I haven't read it yet, but it's the cat. It's the cat book. It's not chat. something it's based on just creating kind of a disequilibrium.
Eat the cat or something
Eat
like
the
that.
Eat the cat.
something,
Oh,
yeah,
uh-huh.
yeah. Creating that disequilibrium, that why do these two things go together, right? Can be a good because our minds want to figure out and get that equilibrium. So putting two really contrast,
things,
yeah, a kind of opposing or just weird ideas together can be a really nice hook.
Cool.
I did that in teaching. That's a teaching tactic.
Any other thoughts or questions here? Okay, so if you turn, you're looking at the page now. Well, let's talk about the payoff for a minute. So does anyone know what the payoff is? Anyone want to venture and share what that means?
Call to action.
Okay, can be. Yep, it's not exclusively that, but yeah, that's part of it. Any other thoughts? Okay, I'm going to give you another example. So there's a creator that I follow. Her name's Dr. Julie. She's an Australian therapist. Okay, I love her videos. I think Anthony's seen my example of her before.
What's her name?
Dr. Julie, if you were to search her. I don't remember her last name.
Yeah, she's all holistic and
Yeah, yep. What I love about her videos is she does object lessons, and they're so cool. Like the last one she has like a Chinese finger trap, and she like made it this whole allegory of like mental health and stuff. It was really cool just to hear how she does that. She once posted a video. Actually, let me rephrase that. She posted the same video twice, okay? Same exact video that she posted, I don't know how many weeks or whatever apart. First time it did something like 350K views. The second time, I think the number was 38 million views. Something like that. Same exact video, there's only one difference, okay? In this video, she did a plug for her book at the end of the video. The last 4 seconds. And so what she did when she saw that happen, that like her completion rate dropped, and now my thing is, there we go. She saw in her trend that the completion rate dropped those last 4 seconds when she plugged her book. When she reposted the video and just cut those last 4 seconds out, that's what happened. So my only point in sharing this with you is that's how much completion rate matters, because that's what the platform cares about, because that's how the platform makes money. And if you can play in that sandbox, like I said before, the platform will reward you.
Quick question.
Yep.
This might be I don't know if that is the right word, but does the platform know the content of your video? So they're like, oh, they're plugging it at the end, that's nonsense, we're gonna prohibit the reach?
Yes and no. I think the platform is aware of like even what you're saying.
Independent of the viewer's action.
Yes. Yep. I can give a good example of that actually. So on TikTok, this is a whole other like topic that I could cover, but on TikTok, in addition, when we're talking about SEO and stuff, TikTok has an indexing system, just like Google indexes your website. If you were to pull up TikTok, you know that search bar that appears at the top of your feed, okay? Sometimes that search bar has something in it, sometimes it doesn't. Have you guys noticed that? Sometimes there's a keyword in the search bar. If you see a keyword in the search bar, that means that video got indexed under that topic on TikTok. If you're seeing it blank and it says something like see other relevant videos or whatever it says, that means that video didn't get indexed under a topic. And you'll notice if there's a keyword in the search bar on a TikTok video, that means that video got indexed. That video tends to have more views than a video that isn't indexed. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So I say this because one time I posted a video where I was talking about I was telling a story about like a prank that happened at an office or something like that, and I mentioned the word photocopier. The video had nothing to do with the photocopier. It was like, and the guy walked by the photocopier, and then like the whole story continued. TikTok heard photocopier, and that's the damn keyword that it put in the search bar and tanked my completion rate for that reason. Oh. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Because it heard photocopier and it indexed my dadgum video under photocopier when it had nothing to do with it. Does that make sense? So in that sense, that's how I know the platform, because the mention of photocopier wasn't in the hashtags, it wasn't in the caption, it wasn't anywhere, not in the comments, nothing. But it heard photocopier and it indexed it for that reason.
Well, what can you do about that then?
Script your videos very carefully. That's what I would say, yeah.
Do you use creator search insights on TikTok?
I do. The short answer is yes, but what I've found is if you're super niche or super unique in your business, then you might not see something on there. Like it might, how do I say this? What you see on there that might be useful for you to pick up on might contradict what you do in your pie method exercise, is what I've found. Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Anthony.
So I found something like that. Maybe I'm not doing it right, but if I look for personal training and then I said these are the areas I like, and it'll give me like, I don't know, how to lose weight or exercises for whatever. When really what I'm trying to do is reach personal trainers who want to be in that field or build their own businesses.
Yep.
And I'm not sure if I'm just not finding the right the right keywords, or there's just a disconnect that I'm gonna have to fill in.
It's a disconnect you'll have to figure out. What that means, especially like on TikTok, for example, how I just talked about the indexing thing. What that means is TikTok isn't acknowledging the community of personal trainers who might be seeking for an authority figure to like latch onto, who could be you, right? TikTok isn't recognizing that, so you might have to create the category in that sense. You're the TikTok personal trainer guy for personal trainers. Does that make sense? Yeah.
I have a question. So let's take a platform like YouTube. And you have a presentation, this particular workbook, and you mention it, and you say, see the comments below or see the link below for a copy of my book. If I'm watching that and I scroll down to the bottom, if I'm engaged, I'm going to click on the link, obviously, but am I staying to the end, which is what the algorithm ultimately wants? Because obviously I want to see more of what you have to say about this book.
Right.
So is that kind of along the same context as this?
It is. So I would say whenever you're posting content, only have one singular goal in mind. And getting leads in that situation is a different goal than getting exposure, right? Okay. And if you're trying to do both, it's going to work against you. So the way I found that worked for me was I post 3 videos a day. Three reels, whatever, 3 a day. And I know that's a lot. I know that sounds intimidating, but I post 3 a day. My first video would be my entertainment value driven video. My second video would be a video I would do more of a call to action, because what I found would happen, I call them spillover views. So when I would get 6 million, 7 million, 13 million views to my morning video that I would post, and then I would post a video like 3, 4, or 5 hours later as my some of us in our blocks community, we call that, what was Wes call it, harvest posting? Yeah. So that's what I call my harvest post, which is, this is my call to action video. This is my more business driven video that I'm going to just talk about me and my offer or whatever. And when you do that and you just rinse and repeat every day, some of the spillover views that happen from your morning viral video will go on to that next video. Because they're like, oh, this guy's interesting. Like, let me see what else he's all about. And they'll scroll through your page. They see your other videos, and a lot of people will binge them. So they'll see that call to action video, and that's where you can like isolate your singular focus is on one video while you're creating content to get exposure in another. Okay. Am I making sense? Yeah. And I built an entire coaching business. I built my entire email list doing that very thing. Great question. Cool, we got a few more minutes. Any other thoughts or questions at all, guys? Okay.
What's your last video of the day?
Oh, it's either something, if I'm doing 3, then the one I would do in the afternoon is like, I call it like a community-driven video. So that's where you try to like build your tribe, like create a sense of community and stuff like that is what I would say. So I also, just in my experience, I found like platforms will tell you like, oh, your audience is most active during this time. I've never found posting a video at 10 o'clock at night where it says my audience is active. I've never found that to be very effective. So I've just found the earlier you post a video and it's one that you're trying to get attention with, right? Go viral or whatever. The earlier you post that, the better. Like that means you have the whole day for people to get exposed to that video. So very often I would post a video, and it was late even in my case, but when I was actively posting my series every day, I was posting by like 11 a.m. my time. And I mean, before the day was over, I might have a 10 million view video doing that. So, but again, that's being consistent. That's making sure you're training the algorithm. That's making sure that you're doing good with your completion rate, all that type of stuff. All that plays into making something like that happen.
But you're doing this 5 days a week or 7 days a week?
I typically would do it during, yeah. I mean, I could have done it on the weekends. I just would get lazy and not do it. Sometimes I'd wake up Sunday and be like, that type of thing. But yeah, mostly I was just doing it during business days, business hours. Scott.
From the picture or your profile on TikTok that I looked at, it was all the videos look the same. There was, I think it was you and then some wording over it. Would you stay with the consistency of the look or kind of switch it up?
That's a great question. I personally found when I would do that there's something to that, yes.
Okay.
So, and I, just so you guys, full disclosure, like I have multiple TikTok accounts, I have multiple Instagram accounts that I've tested this stuff with. So you might search me and find my new brand that I created earlier this year versus the one that I've had, 4 years in the running. And so if you don't see the following on one of my profiles, then you're looking at the wrong one probably. But yeah.
Next question is, so a lot of what, by nature, what we do, it's very diverse. And, as I mentioned earlier, we're creating a trade school for all the trades. So we've got like 7 layers of resilience, but then with that splits off into so many different things. So, DIY and resilience and homesteading and solutions are all kind of things that apply to that. But is it a good idea to be diversifying so much on one platform, or should we maybe create multiple different accounts for those different layers of resilience?
I would say because of how the platform works, remember what I said kind of kicking this off, is the platform wants to pigeonhole you. You have to be willing to be pigeonholed because you have to be a reliable source for a specific kind of content, right? And so because of the nature of how the platform works, and this is something I don't think is going to change for a long time, because like completion rate, watch time, there's nothing better for the platform to make money off of than that. So that part of the algorithm isn't going to change anytime soon. I would say because of the nature of the platforms, you want to really stick to one keyword. And when you do, like if you did the pie method, do like 10 keywords across each platform, you're going to find a different keyword for each one that's more popular. Each platform is going to have a keyword that you're interested in that has a bigger piece of or a bigger pie than others. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So yeah, if you try to be too diverse, you got to figure out like one keyword that is kind of an umbrella over all of them in order to be effective, is what I would say.
Okay.
So
Thanks.
Great question. Emily?
Did you have that anywhere else? Like you said, like your strategy, like posting like 3 times a day or something like that, what you put each one. Is that anywhere else, or could you just like repeat it for like 30 seconds? 'Cause I
Yeah.
missed it.
Just talking about like the type of content that I did.
Because you said like in the end of the day you did community building, middle of the day was CCA, the beginning of the day was I missed it.
Beginning of the day for me, what I found to work is like whatever your entertainment viral content is, post that at the beginning of the day. Because then that content is going to like, all platforms, they test your video in tiers. So they look at the completion rate after like 2,000 people see it, for example, and then 10,000, and then 50, and then 100, and then 1,000,000. They test it in tiers and watch your completion rate at each tier. And as long as that completion rate doesn't dip, it'll keep going through the tiers. Does that make sense? And so knowing that, tried to leverage it, and what I found worked the best, maybe there's a better way, what I found to work the best, post your entertaining viral video type format in the morning and let that algorithm go through the tiers all day, and then you post additional videos and you get spillover views to the other ones. That's what seemed to work for me.
Okay.
Good thoughts.
Thank you.
3 more minutes?
Yeah, you
Okay.
can run over 5 minutes or so.
Okay.
It's fine.
Let's see. Okay, so we've talked about research. Remember REM, research and experiment. Now we're on maximize, okay? So once you've, this experiment period, this is what's going to take the longest. When I started playing with social media and being really dedicated to it, I didn't have a video explode until 3 months in of like posting 3 times a day, 3 months in. That's how long it took. Now I am a doofus and it takes me, like I have a thicker head than most people. It takes me longer to learn things. So that's why that happened. But what I'm showing you could help you figure it out in like a few weeks, potentially. Okay. But the whole idea, like you first do the research, you experiment, now you maximize. So the idea of what you're maximizing on is with your content, you take your keywords, you're creating content around it. I want you to do a bunch of different types of topics pertaining to your keyword, a bunch of different, like whatever you're comfortable with, but a bunch of different formats, a bunch of different ways that you deliver your content. So for example, TikTok made this popular, but there's a green screen effect that you can do on TikTok or CapCut where you impose yourself over like a screenshot or something like that. That's what my series was, is I was posting myself over screenshots of like text messages and stuff like that. Blew up every time. But it's just me being a doofus on this for 2 minutes, right? So that was one format. And then I would do another format where like I would just rehash a story that I heard in the news. So that's another format. Does anyone Am I making sense of like what a format is? It's basically just a delivery style of your content. So you can do, even within like talking head style content where you're just doing this, there's a bazillion different formats you could do just with talking head style. But maybe if you're on tours, maybe you're highlighting just one stop on the tour, for example, right? Or if you're doing fitness, maybe it's you tour the gym one day, or you're doing a different type of movement at the weight bench for another. Just as examples, are all different formats you could be doing. So I want you to, once you figured out your keywords, I want you to experiment with the delivery of your content. Think of unique and creative ways to deliver on it. And then when you start finding, maybe you pick 15 different, and that's a lot, but maybe you pick 15 different ways to deliver your content, okay? Talking head, a day in the life, doing a tour of your office, whatever it is, okay? Do 15 of them. And over time, you're going to see that some of them are more effective, some of them are more popular than other ones, and those are the ones you want to double down on. And the way you can be certain to double down on those ones is to check your completion rate on them. Okay, so you might have a video, you might experience your first 20,000 view video, and you're really excited because the format is something you're okay being known for. The topic is something you're okay being known for, right? And so even if that video doesn't like explode, if you have like a 30% completion rate, that's really good. Okay? So if, again, I'll just repeat it because this is really important. Experiment, watch your analytics, use different formats. Scott.
Is it good to do shorter videos so you have better completion rate possibility?
It depends on how short. Like for the purpose of experimenting, I would do maybe at least a 30-second video if you're doing shorts. Yeah, or reels or whatever. Yeah.
Where do you find the completion rate? I see all the metrics and stuff, but I don't think I've ever seen completion.
So when you're looking at the viewership trend, you know how you put your finger on it and you can move it and it shows you?
Yeah.
So take it all the way to the end and that's your completion rate, whatever that number is.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Yeah.
What was that third thing? Experiment, watch,
And use different formats. Yep. Okay. And we didn't get to the payoff yet, so I want to talk about the payoff for a second. I talked about Dr. Julie, and that was kind of my point, is the payoff is what the final thing that happens in your video is. And just to summarize everything I could tell you about the payoff, you want to leave viewers satisfied and happy they stuck around to the end. That's the point of the payoff. So you kind of teed up what to expect in the video with the hook. You delivered micro hooks and value throughout the body. They need to be excited that whatever impression or expectation you set with the hook, they're getting by the payoff. Okay? And you want to make sure that whatever it is, you don't take too much time to deliver that payoff. So it's almost better to end a video, short form or long form, it doesn't really matter. It's almost better to end almost on like a cliffhanger than it is to drag it out, because people will start swiping away if you're dragging out that payoff for too long. Does that make sense? Then you take your completion rate, and a good video like Dr. Julie that might have done really good, you're tanking because you're just dragging out that payoff too long. Make sense? Okay. So I didn't number these pages at all, but there's a page that says pro tips that make content original and engaging. That just gives you some different activities and exercises to do. Let's see if there's anything else that I want to talk about.
What does replace E in your captions with the number 3?
Yeah, like I have a shed prints company. Mm-hmm. We turned the 3 in shed because it's 3D printed.
Okay. Yep. So what that's talking about is some creators, to get engagement, to get comments, they'll intentionally leave a discrepancy in the video to get people to comment on it, right?
To correct it.
To correct it or something. So one example, like there's a creator named Adley. I don't know if you know who Adley Kinsman is. She's really fun to watch. She's annoying, but she's fun to watch. Okay, she's great. I saw an ad of hers one time where she was pitching her course, and it was her like at a beach or a park or something like that. She had a group of people behind her, and I think all of them were women, and they were all dressed really elegant, like just kind of elegant, like really nice. They were dressed formally a little bit, and there was one dude, he had cargo shorts on, a black t-shirt, and a pink bikini over the t-shirt. And so what are people going to comment on in that video the most when they see that, right? It's the guy wearing a bikini over his pants over his clothes for some reason. So sometimes people intentionally create discrepancies or mistakes like that to get engagement, which can help, because if they're one thing that can help improve your completion rate is prompting someone to leave a comment because the video's running in the background. Does that mean? So if they get to the end of the video and they're typing away, you just improved your completion rate. Does that make sense? So if they're doing it talking about the doofus wearing a pink bikini over his clothes, that might be enough to do it. So that's why people do that. One time I posted a video where I was talking about, it was about government or something like that, and I used the word Gestapo in my captions and stuff, but I spelled Gestapo wrong, and everyone lost their minds.
Yeah.
Yeah, gazpacho. I don't remember how I spelled it, but everyone was like, "You're an idiot. You spelled it wrong." I was like, "Hi, you're the idiot because you fell for it." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Thank you.
So
very much.
yeah, exactly. Let's see. The last thing, actually, we're good on. Yeah, I'm over. So helpful, Scott.
Yeah, that's excellent. Some of my most popular videos have been the ones where I've shared mistakes that we've made, and as a trade school, it's not always the best. I got to be really careful in the way we do that, but people love the mistakes, so.
I can tell you why, because it's relatable.
Yeah, and that's what we need to try to stitch it together with the mistake and then the solution.
Okay. Are we okay? Are we okay for me to? Are we okay for me to pull names out of a hat really quick?
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Hey, can we also, real quick, can everybody lean in and look here? And I want to get a picture, and then I want everybody to say, peace out, Tree Scout, on 3, okay? So look here.
Thank you. Thanks.
2, 3.
Peace out, Tree Scout.